Hey, I'm Jocelyn, and this is a quick and dirty carbonara. It's not exact because I'm not going to use pecorino, partly because this is part of another video, 5 things to make with 10 ingredients. So that video is like when you're traveling and you're staying in an apartment and you don't want to buy a ton of food, but you can get like 10 or 12 ingredients and make a whole bunch of meals. So this is one of those meals. So we're going to start with, we've got 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks. We've got noodles for everyone. I'm using a gluten-free fettuccine because they're my favorite. These are also really easy, portions, right? So there are 4 people. I usually use 5 of these for our family. And I've got some parmesan here, and I've got bacon. Pancetta would probably be a little bit better. Carbonara is usually made with the meat from the cheek, but I'm just going to use bacon because that's one of the things we're going to use in some of those other meals that I've got. So we're going to start by just chopping this up into, maybe not quite inch-long pieces. So my family really likes bacon, so I've actually got more bacon than you would usually use in a carbonara. For like this size, I would probably use about 3 or 4 strips of bacon if you're doing it the right way. I'm using like 6 because, that's my family. So we're gonna go cook these off, and I've got water boiling already, so I'm just gonna wait for that to boil while this renders down. Okay, so we're just gonna throw this. I've got my pan already kind of a little bit hot. And we're just going to render this. We don't want this to get crispy like bacon. We just want it to cook down. I'm just tossing these in my boiling water, and I'm going to let those cook until they're about al dente. And depending on what kind of pasta you use, it's going to be different for every pasta. I'm going to give this a quick stir. And because I'm using this carbon steel pan that gets really hot and retains heat really well, I'm turning this down pretty far, like medium low. That way I can go over and mix my eggs and my cheese and make the sauce. Okay, so we're gonna make our sauce really quickly, and it's just 2 whole eggs and then 2 egg yolks, and we're gonna dump them in our bowl. And I've got about a cup or so of Parmesan, and we're just gonna whisk this together. You can whisk the eggs first and then put in the cheese, but it mixes up just as well either way. We're going to use a generous amount of black pepper, about 1.5 teaspoons maybe, and just a little bit of salt because that cheese is pretty salty, and then you're going to put it with bacon, and all of that is going to be salty, so we don't want to add too much. So I'm just going to whisk that up. And yes, this is raw, but when we put it in with our hot bacon and on our noodles, it won't be so bad. It'll kind of cook itself. Okay, so my bacon is pretty well done. It's not really crispy, nice and soft still, but cooked. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna throw it on a paper towel and just let it drain. And then I'm going to drain my pasta, and always when you are making pasta, try to reserve a little bit of that water. It's really easy to do with these little bundles, these sort of nests of noodles, because you can just sort of pull the noodles out and you don't really have to worry about trying to save the water and drain everything out. That can kind of be a pain in the rear end. So we're just going to do this. And my noodles are done, so I'm going to go ahead and drain that. So like I said, you don't really have to drain these noodles because of the type. I can just pull them out and throw them in my hot pan. I'm going to mix everything back in this pan simply because it's easy. So this pan is completely off. It's just whatever heat's in there is simply from from having cooked the bacon. And now my bacon, I'm just gonna Make sure it's nice and dry. Throw that in there. Mix it around a little bit, and then we're gonna throw our egg and cheese mixture in here and stir it around, and you will have pasta carbonara. Nice and easy. This is a great meal for kids, you know, when you don't have a lot of time or something. This is one you can make really quickly. It's got a ton of protein in it. Not a lot of vegetables, but you know what? Who says you can't just throw some broccoli in there too or something? So there you go. We're gonna mix this in really well. And then I'm gonna throw a little extra cheese on top. So I'm just gonna add a little more cheese. It is entirely up to you how much you want to put on there. I've got quite a lot in there because I really like Parmesan. So there we are. There is a beautiful, huge serving of pasta carbonara. And it's quick. And you can make this really easily when you don't have a whole lot of ingredients. Like I said, this is all part of 5 meals you can make with 10 ingredients, and this is one of them. So I hope you enjoy it. So I said reserve a little bit of water, and this is pretty good and wet, and I'm not real concerned about it. But reserving that little extra pasta water, you just pour a little bit in and mix it all up. This is especially great if the kids are taking a long time to get down to the dinner table. The hot water will just kind of liven this all back up again. And so there you go. That's why Italians keep a little pasta water.